All right, we're live.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hopportunity Investors, where real estate investing meets beer. Guys, it is already almost the end of June. We're almost at Independence Day, and it's a crazy world out there. We're going to get into that a little bit. Of course, we're going to focus more on the real estate side of the craziness. But yeah, we got an awesome night. We got Mrs. Carrie Copenhaver in here tonight, and Sean's going to introduce her in a little bit. But just awesome person to have here, involved in so much in real estate. As we said in the advertisement, she's like a Swiss Army knife in the game of real estate here in Hampton Roads. And so we're just excited to have her knowledge and information, especially on Airbnb, but also just on the real estate market in general. We're actually going to break Airbnb up into two sections. We're going to do Carrie tonight, and then we've got Matt Fisher from Tesseract Property Management. They manage short-term rentals in Norfolk and Virginia Beach, and he's going to be a wealth of knowledge for us. Carrie knows him as well, and I've been telling Sean about him, and I think it's going to be really cool. So I think we've got two very different business models between what Carrie's doing and what Matt's doing. So we're going to break it up into 2 months. It's something that people have been very interested in. So we're going to hit Airbnb short-term rentals 2 months in a row, and we hope you guys join us. If you got questions, please bring them on. Put them on the Facebook page, and we will do our best to respond to that. So my name is Alex Winfield, and I am your friendly local neighborhood real estate agent / investor friendly guy. And this is Hopportunity Investors. Mr. Sean Bowen up there in one of your corners or above me. He is the co-host, whatever we're calling this thing. And
co-mingler.
Co-something. You know, I do the real estate sales and the property management, and he is a wholesale guy. The thing that brings us together is we love to talk about real estate, and that's why we're here. Normally, we would do this at a brewery,
Yes.
But so today we're bringing the beer home to us, and we are bringing the information home to you. And guys, I didn't have that written down or anything. That was just on the spot. Right
Off the cuff.
So yeah, there's a lot going on out there in the real estate market. I think Carrie's going to jump on it a little bit, but it's hot out there. It's crazy. So, you know, we'd love to hear what Carrie has to say about that. But yeah, if you're not in the mix, I can tell you right now there is very low inventory. And no matter what, I think there's always opportunity. So with these things, we really try to jump in to say, what is the opportunity out there that's best for you right now? And, you know, once again, hop on the Facebook page, throw out some questions, throw out some ideas, start some conversations up. This is all about, you know, getting information. When Sean and I, you know, got together on this, it was because we like talking about this stuff, and we wanted to create opportunity for ourselves informationally and for other people networking. So hard to network right now. I get it. But eventually we are going to bring this back out into the world. We don't know how soon. It might be August. I don't know. We've kind of, next month's July. Sorry, we always do it at the end of the month, so it's confusing. Might do July. We haven't really gotten that far yet, but I think before the end of the summer, we'll get back to, you know, actual location. But until now, it's actually been kind of cool, and we've had a lot of people joining us that, you know, from all over the place that weren't able to join us before. So it's been nice. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of the way and quit stepping on my own feet, and I'm gonna let Sean introduce Carrie to you guys.
Don't forget your toast, man. Always got to have your toast.
All right. May your castle be secure and your cup overflowing.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
All right, let's get it going. What's up, guys? Sean Bowen, Full Circle Investment Group and wholesalingoutofthebox.com. I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. Again, Alex mentioned it. We have a lot of people on the screen here I want to talk about. We got Ashley Little that works with Full Circle Investment Group. We got Vanessa that works with Alex, and Cameron Peters that works with Full Circle Investment Group. And, of course, Carrie that is joining us tonight and speaking. So thank you so much for joining us and hanging out. Guys, we're here for the next hour. Please, over on the side of the screen, join us on the activity and the logs and write questions. And we're not really going to bring anybody on live at the moment, but we're trying to answer your questions as they come up and try to be interactive with you guys over there. But definitely, like Alex said, I'm local in the market. Alex and I met quite a few years ago. We've had, fortunately, opportunity up and running and doing great. And the girls that you see here help us make that happen. The ladies are awesome, making us look good in the front while they take care of a lot of stuff in the back, make us look like we know what we're doing. So it's really cool. I want to thank them out here in the front, and always thank you so much for helping us. So Cameron is over there as acquisitions for Full Circle Investment Group, and he helps a lot as well. And he is also a new chapter that we have over on the Peninsula side. So if you're interested and you're watching from afar, and maybe you're on the Peninsula side of Hampton Roads for the Yorktown, Newport News, Hampton, Jamestown area, he's going to be starting up again shortly to have meetings over there at the breweries and just taking what we've already done here on the south side and just starting to extend it out. So that's what he's here and what he does, and huge help there. Cameron's been in the business for a little while now, done multiple deals, and starting to build his portfolio. So looking forward to watching you grow, Cam. Appreciate you being here. All right, Miss Carrie, let's do it.
Carrie.
Guys, Carrie Copenhaver, I've been around since probably the past 6 years, I know for sure. Done deals with her, done business with her on multiple different levels. Also, not wouldn't say she's a member of Trig and works the board, right? So she's been there for quite some time.
Works the board?
Yeah, works the board. Like, she's part of the board. So been part of that group for a long time. Huge wealth of information. Huge help. A lot of questions that I couldn't answer back in the day, she helped me get through, and then vice versa. Things that her and I bounce questions off each other all the time. So huge help there, and just a wealth of information. So tonight she's coming to us and helping us talk about her experience and what her knowledge is on the Airbnb world, and the good, the bad, the ugly, what COVID-19 did to it and what it's doing to it. So really looking forward to it. So without any more questions, talk to us, Carrie, and let us know what we got going on.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak to your people and Hopportunity. I always I appreciate the opportunity. You know that I love teaching anyway, and I love talking, and I love beer. So it's a really solid fit.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little bit of my background, and then we'll talk a little bit about the business that I do, and then we'll kind of get into current market conditions. We're going to get into a little bit more than just Airbnb. I want to share with you a lot of what's happening in the real estate world in our arena with COVID and the impact that it's had on our market. So quick background. I was a forensic chemist at the State Crime Lab for a number of years, and then I had my kids, and I had an epiphany that I was really trading my life for mediocrity, because if you've ever worked for the government, you know that you can't do too little, but you can't do too much either. So I just need you in this middle band of mediocrity, just do enough to get by. And the thought of trading my life for mediocre just was not exciting. And I had these babies. I was tired of dropping them off at 7 a.m. and picking them up at 5 p.m. at night and letting somebody else raise them. So I figured there had to be another way to generate income. At the same time, I don't know if you guys know Carlton Sheets. It's like, I'm probably telling my age a little bit. Old school. So Carlton Sheets was like the guru of, like, he was the first information seller for real.
CD style, man. CD
right?
style.
So long story short, I mean, we bought that course, but I didn't do anything with that. Around 2005, I went to a seminar, ended up buying a package there, and got into real estate investing. It took me a year before I felt comfortable enough to pull the trigger. And that would have put us, right in the midst of a apparent recession that we were having. And I'm going to, as we go through this conversation, I'm a huge mindset. The foundation of my business is my mindset. That is the foundation. And you're going to hear me say things. And I hope that they are impactful for you, because everyone has ginormous potential, but this is your limiting factor. What's happening right in here is your limiting factor. So I started in real estate, went ahead and get my license. My husband's like, go get your license. I'm like, I don't want to get my license. I want to be an investor. And we had that conversation a couple of times. I went ahead and got my license. In 2006, I was Rookie of the Year in my firm because I wasn't participating in the recession. I heard about it, but I chose not to participate in it. So we did our first flip that year. We were still flipping. So long story short, we did the first one, second one, the third one. Took us like a year and a half to get those, but I had, I invested $15,000 in the first property that we did. I took it sub 2. I didn't know that's what I was doing at the time, but that's what I did. And turned that 15, a year and a half, I walked out of a closing with a $110,000 check in my hand. So that was just continuous, like roll it. And as the opportunities got bigger, the checks got larger. So, of course, at that juncture, there was no turning back because I'd never seen a check like that before. That was more than I ever made in a year, 2 years, 3 years.
Awesome. Salary
all in one check. But anyway, so we've been investing, and I've been an agent since 2006. I absolutely love it. We are rehabbers and flippers, and we've been doing that for a long time. We finally got into buy and holds like 5 years ago. And then like 3 years ago, I want to say, it was 3 years ago, because I've had 941 for 3 years. I was at, I think this is my 4th year, doing my 4th season as a host. So one of the guys at Trig just, he started talking about this Airbnb. And I was like, what are you talking about right now? And he had this place in Norfolk. It was a condo. We'll talk about condos in a minute. You cannot do Airbnb in condos unless the condo docs allow it. So that's a little side note that you need to like scribble down on paper. Don't buy something until you've had it confirmed that you can actually perform a short-term rental there. So anyway, Eric Giles, he was talking about this condo he had in Norfolk, and he's cash flowing it. And he's like, look at this, and he was making he was cash flowing it by probably $500 a month or so, which was pretty, that's big money for a property manager or for a landlord. So I just happened to be on Nextdoor app. This guy, and BA's hilarious. BA's like 74 years old. BA posted on Nextdoor, I have 4 properties that I want to sell with owner financing. Call me. And I was like, hello. And it took me 2 months to land him, but I finally got him. He had 3 condos and a townhouse, and I wanted the townhouse because it's simple fee ownership and I have everything to worry about. So I locked that deal up. And he had tenants in there, and he's like, well, what are you going to do with this place? And I said, well, I'm going to turn it into a short-term rental. And I told Mike, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm one of those ready, fire, aim people. I'm just going to go do it, and I'll figure it out along the way, knowing that, I have a great partner with me, and we'll figure it out. It's not rocket science, right? It's not like brain surgery. So you'll figure things out as you go along. So we went ahead and purchased that property, 10% down and 5%. I think it's 5% for 20 years. And, and he's an older gentleman. So I got a first right of refusal on any note reduction that I presume that his daughter's going to try to sell the note at some point in time to cash it out. So I'm like, I get first right of refusal nice. If anybody ever comes to sell that note. But BA's been awesome. He when I showed him the numbers, he was blown away because he was making he was renting it for $900 a month. He was way behind the time. If he had, he could have gone up to probably $1,200 a month, but we turned around in the first year and made like $30,000 on that particular unit. And obviously I was hooked at that point because I told Mike, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. We went ahead and furnished the place. And then I took the pictures with my cell phone, put it up on Airbnb, and within 48 hours, the entire summer was booked. Like all weekend, it was like ping, 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 all these notifications. And so So that's really that's just how we started, was just blind luck. Well, at the time, there weren't that many places on that street that were being sold. But all the neighbors were paying attention to what we were doing. They all knew what we were doing. And the next thing you know, they're coming up to me like, hey, do you want to buy my house? Or, hey, that house is getting ready to go on the market. So we ended up with 4 on that street. And then I picked up another house through a sub 2. I'll tell that story later if we want to get into it. But anyway, I have 5 that I own personally, and then I manage one for a friend of mine that's right around the corner, because he was doing annual rentals on his. And I was like, dude, you've got to let me turn that thing into a short-term rental so I can make you some real money, because they generate, well, I'll put it to you this way. Last year we grossed on those, well, technically on those 6, right? But 938 was still pretty new. So this only counts. I only did like $7,000 on 938 last year. So that would mean that I grossed 193,000 last year on 5 units.
Woo!
And Lakewood had only been on the market for 6 months. So that Lakewood by itself, which is a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath,
awesome.
2,600 square foot home, that I picked up as a sub 2 that was in foreclosure. We reinstated that loan, that 3% loan, $2,500 note payment on that thing. And we did like $60,000 on that last year.
Damn, that's awesome.
I know.
That's crazy.
So we did, if you look at my Airbnb stats, we did over $200,000 last year.
Nice.
That's gross. It's not net, but I assure you the net is a little less than half. So
yeah, still not bad, right?
It is.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Operational expenses are roughly 40%. So roughly 40% profit, 40% operational expenses.
On 5 properties.
On 5 properties.
Damn.
Very
good
good.
So
it's incredible.
That's a salary there.
This year we and mind you, I still have mortgages. I paid off a second note on one of them last year, but if we didn't have mortgages on that, you're right. That's all. So we're power paying all the notes down on those things so that we can, and they keep appreciating because they're close to the ocean front. So it's been incredible.
Are all 5 of them at the ocean front?
All 5 of mine are. I have a duplex in Norfolk that I'm getting ready to put one on Airbnb. It's it's in Ghent. So it's super close to the hospital and it's close to ODU. So I'm really excited about that one. It's just a little 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We're almost done renovating that. We bougieed it up. It's killer. Mike's done an amazing job on it. So I'm excited to get that one up and running and see how that one does. And so we self-manage. I'm not going to self-manage that one because it's too far and having to make that trip and blah, blah, blah. And Matt's already out there. So I'm going to give that one to Matt and let him run it because, I'm just getting at an age where work is fun, but life is life and life is not work. So,
True.
So
you're always doing something different. That's amazing. I think that's smart. I mean, and Matt's got it figured out there too. So
yeah, he does. He's got a tight market. So let's talk about COVID, right? So last year we had a kick-ass banner year with Airbnb, and so I took that same seller financed unit that I'm telling you about was not really updated. The kitchen cabinets had started falling apart, and I'm trying to get I started out at $135 a night, like this will be my 4th season. This year I'm pushing the envelope. I'm like, let's go for $250. Let's get $250 in the middle of the summer. So I was planning on like blowing it out this year. And so and of course, any tax person will tell you, I had a nice little reserve fund. So I used that money to go and renovate that property. We put a new kitchen in, blah, blah, blah. Right after I did that, right after depleted that reserve fund, then COVID hit.
Boom.
And I was like, well, this is a pickle. What are we going to do? I'm going to tell you a couple things. Real estate is a relationship business. Okay. That is a key rule that you need to understand if you're going to be successful in this business. It's a relationship business. True. And you build your reputation, right? People know you from your reputations. One of the things my dad taught me was character and integrity. And, I loved being able to go anywhere in the city, and people loved my dad. Like, he was a custom home builder and he built a reputation for himself. And I was able to leverage his reputation to get us started in real estate investing using his resources, because my dad was fair, paid quickly, demanded a certain quality, things of that nature. He had a good reputation at the bank. He always paid his bills. So when he brought me in there, they were like, oh, if you're Billy's daughter, you're good to go.
Nice.
So that helped us out a lot. Where was I going with that conversation? It's time for some more beer.
Relationship business. And
so I leveraged that. When this COVID hit, I thought, okay, what am I going to do right now? And I realized that there was a high demand for people who had just sold their house, needed a place. But now all PCS, everybody's changed of station, and the military got shut down. So you have people that were in flux because they had just sold a house and had nowhere to go. You had I had people that were escaping. Like, I had some people that came here from Washington. So I'm coming full circle with this conversation. But what I realized was I don't necessarily need to make $3,000 a month. I just need to get all my expenses covered. And if I can cash flow, that's a bonus. There's a huge group of individuals that fit that need, where they needed month-long rentals for a variety of reasons, especially during COVID. I mean, I literally had some people, I guess she worked for the Navy and she's out of Washington. So I had one of the units with that person in there for 3 months. I had them because my cancellations just went through the roof. April hit, everybody canceled in May, everybody canceled in April. I had probably half of March that canceled, and we were scrambling. I told Mike I should be a professional chess player after this, because I was moving the pieces all around the board. I'm like, okay, 9:53, I've got somebody I can get in there for 3 months. Now I need to take the people that were set up here and move them to another location. I could cancel. We had the Airbnb has an extenuating circumstances policy, and in the midst of a pandemic, they were very guest leveraged in that situation, where they were, and it was fascinating because I belonged to a lot of host groups to see people arguing about whether or not they were going to give people a full refund. It's like, this is unprecedented times.
Yeah.
And you can't, who the F is going to plan for a pandemic? Just give people their damn money back. You can't even get on an airplane right now, So we did 100% refunds on all cancellations. Even now, if somebody wants to cancel now, that's fine. Because I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to hold someone hostage under these circumstances and keep their money. That's just bad karma.
Oh yeah.
Right. And another principle, because I do keep reserve funds. Now, I had depleted a lot of reserve funds doing that renovation, but I had faith in my capabilities to keep things rolling to at least break even. But I have plenty of other reserves, because the money that I get from my landlording activities, I don't live on that money, right? That's passive income for a later date. My active income is through real estate flipping and through being an agent. So I have a very active agent business as well. But we had to shift very quickly. And because of my reputation, because of the relationships that I have, I was able to connect with many different agents that had a demand because their clients fit into this weird space where they had just sold a house or getting ready to buy a house or whatever, and needed a place to, lay their head for 2 months while the whole country figured out what we were doing. So I had, out of the 6, I had 4 of them month-to-month rentals, premium rates, because all the utilities are included. So I'm getting $1,600 to $1,700 a month, still cash flowing probably $400 a month, which is, I was telling you guys before we got started, my gross profits down by like 50%, but I'm still cash flowing significantly. I'm not in a loss at all. 527, my big house is actually up, but we just started that one in May of last year. So it's hard, those numbers aren't, I don't have a good track record of years to be able to give you solid information. That one in particular, because my carrying costs on that house is $3,000 a month, right, between utilities and my mortgage payment. I have a partner on that. Karen Tyler's my partner on that one. I'm like, man, I don't know what the scope of this is going to look like long term. Why don't we just put a tenant in there? And
is that big one? Big square footage one?
Big house.
Nice.
How close is that one to the beach, Karen?
How close? It's a half a mile. It's on Lakewood Circle, right between like 13th Street, 12th Streets, right down there, right by the school.
Gotcha.
So I was like, why don't we? I really vacillated on turning all of them into long-term rentals, but at the same time, I thought, we can manage this. We're going to be just fine. Everything's going to open up pretty quickly, and I can handle the townhouses are like $1,000 each, or $1,200 or $1,500 each. But that house is $3,000 a month, and if I don't make the money in the summertime, I'm going to be out of pocket in the wintertime. So I ended up finding this amazing tenant who's coming in September. So I'm able to cash flow the entire summer and then put her in. I gave her an 18-month lease so we can get through next summer to see how things are going to play out. And then so she can either, it's up to her. Well, I don't know. It's up to me. Like at that juncture, I'm going to be able to take a pulse of what's happening in the market at that point in time. And then I'll either make that a short-term rental again, or I'll just keep her in there for a while. But keep in mind, my mortgage is $2,500. She's paying me $3,200 a month. So I'm cash flowing $700 a month on that property. So
yeah, not that bad.
That's worst case scenario there.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win for me. So, and she wants to actually, there's a downstairs bedroom, and it has a full bath. It has its own, like you can get to it in its own entrance. We can close the door and lock it so they can't get into the main living area. And the last owners actually put a kitchen in the garage. A kitchen. In
the garage?
In the garage.
You don't have one in your garage?
A whole kitchen.
Come on. What the hell?
It's a 2-car garage. So, right?
It's like a whole new meaning to she said, he said, he should.
Right? So, but what's cool about that is she wants to do Airbnb and, just as a means to make extra money. And she's like, hey, you manage it and we'll split it. I'm like, oh, that sounds lovely. So in addition to that $700 a month, I'll rent out that room downstairs and we'll make whatever, maybe another $5,000 or $10,000 a year on that. So,
hey, Carrie, real quick, we had a question over here. It doesn't say who it was because it just doesn't show me the name, but it says, what was it like to set up the systems and processes to run the Airbnbs? Any notable failures along the way when you first converted from the annual rentals to Airbnbs?
Yeah. So, okay. Systems and processes. That's hilarious.
John made that question. That's it, John.
I did not write that. I did not do that. I would not do that to Carrie. I promise.
Okay.
Just to be fair, this is Tyler Van Sand. He's a systems and processes guy too.
Hey, Tyler. I know he is.
Yeah, Carrie.
Now, that is such a question for Matt Fisher with Tesseract. Like when you see, I'm just doing this on a little scale. So the systems we have our handyman, we've got all that stuff set up. So that's not a big deal, but everything like the way you just need to have a good team. Once you have a good team, the rest of it is super easy, right? It's just checking in, like use technology to automate as much of the process as you can. I have digital locks. I give a new code every time. I have templates set up on Airbnb. So the difference between annual and short-term rentals as far as management, I have to touch the short-term rentals every day. I have to touch them every day. And you have to deal with whatever situation arises and be able to navigate that pretty effectively. So
would you say it's more of a side business than a passive income?
It is an active income. Now, unless of course you go ahead and let somebody do the management on it. So if you outsource your project management on it, you're good to go. And that's what I'm saying. Matt Fisher's got, they have got it down. They have like 11 people. They have 11 full-time employees, probably more by now, but they do have a system because their volume and is so much more significant than mine. Mine are like 5 houses right down the street from me. So it's not, I don't need a huge system to run what we have going on, but it's not, there's really not much to it. I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. So once you kind of, and you set everything up on auto ship on Amazon, right? So it gets delivered right to the place, and then my cleaning lady puts it in the shed for me, so I don't have to go to the store to buy supplies. All that stuff is there. Again, I do everything digital, so the locks and everything is digital. My cleaner has the schedule. She logs into my account to find out when she needs to be there. So we just kind of confirm with each other. The biggest thing is you have to have somebody who's constantly communicating, because you'll get requests and inquiries pretty continuous. Like but it doesn't take me any more than like half an hour a day to run the whole Airbnb business. Nice. So, and unless we have to go do something specific to the property, like we had a little dolphin mailbox over at 527, that last rainstorm, like it took it out. So we had to go replace it. But just little stuff like that. I mean, you have constant maintenance on these things just because they get beat up a little bit more. You would think that they don't, but they get beat up a little bit more than an annual rental.
Well, I think it's awesome having you and Matt it's so cool, because we've got people that want to do Airbnb, but they really don't want a side hustle, and then we've got people that really want that side hustle and want to make that income, and they're going to go out there and do that hustle. But it's good to be able to have you on here and to say, you do have to hustle. Like, this is not like, this isn't free money that people are just handing out. It's money you got to work for, but you can crush it too. So I think it's awesome to have your perspective to say, yeah, let's go over here and hustle and let's do this. And I mean, that seems to be your motto anyways.
My modus operandi. I'll go figure it out as we go along.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why we appreciated having you on here.
One of your comments was, or one of your statements was, ready, point, aim.
No, ready, fire, aim.
Nice.
Nice. Ready, fire, aim.
Fire.
Awesome.
Ready, fire. It's supposed to be ready, aim, fire, but I don't do the aiming part. I do fire, and then I figure it out when I get there. Like, oh yeah, I should have done this differently. So that's the benefit of these groups, right? Is that this is the ability to connect with people and listen to their experiences, so you can build a better mousetrap, right? That's the whole idea. This is, again, like, real estate investing is not rocket science. And there's a bazillion people who have been successful at it. Just freaking follow in the footsteps. Stop trying to blaze your own trail.
Or reinvent the wheel.
Blaze your own trail. You don't have to reinvent the wheel either. And don't give me that shit like, well, I'm not going to do it like that. It doesn't work. Okay, but
you're stupid then.
I know. I'm so dumb. I don't know why you do it like that. I'm like, okay, well,
that guy makes $1 million a year. I'm going to go figure out another way to do it.
I'm going to go figure out another way to do it. Yeah.
All right, we got another question over here. Justina Robinson asked, what was your criteria for property acquisition?
Okay, this one, because of its location, right? So all right, first of all, let me tell you another quick little story. This is another phenomenal deal. It's crazy. So I had one of my agent friends call me and say, Carrie, I need you to help me with this house. I need to sell this property. And there was no meat on the bone, right? And I said, look, the best thing I can do is take over the payments. That's all I have to offer. I said, if he wants me to do that, I'm down. The guy wasn't behind. VA, 3.25%, right? No arrearage. He just wants out. He owed 180. Property needs a little bit of work. I'm getting ready to put a roof on it this weekend. And I mean, I've had it for over a year right now. And it was, it's one of those tiny houses over at Lynn Haven. It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, like 1,000 square feet, literally. Literally. Plenty of room to expand.
Tight bedrooms there.
Plenty of room to add on to it. So So anyhow, I got this property, and then another agent, like literally, so for $2,800 in closing costs, I've acquired this property. I have nothing in it. The only thing we did was clean it out. That's it. Another agent come to me looking for seller financing property. I'm like, well, let's talk. So I ended up leasing it to him. He did Airbnb on that property, did like $30,000 on that property. I'm like, Now I'm still not doing Airbnb on that one. I still turned it into an annual rental when he gave it back to me, because the city regulations changed, and he would have to invest in a new driveway and blah, blah, blah for it to make sense to him. And he didn't want to do that. And he didn't want to buy it for the price that I wanted to sell it for. I wasn't highly motivated to sell it because it was a free house.
And it was making money.
And it's making money. So I'm like, I'm not really motivated. I'm not your motivated seller right now. So long story short, criteria, like anywhere in Virginia Beach, is going to work. No condos, no HOAs, no POAs, simple fee ownership. And now the city has gotten a little quirky now because they have all these regulations, and they're very easy to find. Just type, Google in Virginia Beach short-term rental regulations. So I don't have to go into the whole spiel. But I will tell you one major factor that is going to limit your ability to get a short-term rental approved by zoning is parking. You have to have a 9x18 space for every bedroom in the property. So if you don't have a 9x18 space now,
and that's better than Norfolk, right?
Oh yeah, well, yeah. So Norfolk is kind of similar, but you have to jump through a lot more hoops. You cannot do Airbnb in Chesapeake unless you're zoned for bed and breakfast. And I don't know. I think Portsmouth has a bunch that are operating under the radar, and Portsmouth is just Portsmouth. And I don't know if they know what they're doing. I don't know if anybody knows what's happening in Portsmouth right now. So
I think they said they don't.
think anybody would argue with that.
Anything about it.
What'd you say, Alex?
I think they've said that they're illegal, but it's not enforced, is what I've seen. It was illegal in Norfolk until I think 2 years ago, but they just
Right.
It
was so let's talk about illegal. The Virginia Beach is interesting.
It was illegal on Ocean View.
Yeah, no, let's talk about what illegal means. Because I think, of course, I'm one of those, like, it's my property. I should be allowed to do what I want to do with it. But zoning is set up already. Like, if you look in the zoning ordinances, they're already written in no rentals less than 30 days. So that's what, quote unquote, makes them illegal, and quote unquote, why don't meet zoning standards, why you have to do a conditional use permit. Virginia Beach is interesting because we now have a residential tourist zone. So they rezoned part of Virginia Beach down by the ocean front, and it's like 23rd Street to 19th Street, and then it tees down Pacific. And anything in that zone is a by right, right? So you don't. All you have to do is go down the city.
So 23rd to 19th on Atlantic.
Well, like if you go, well, okay, so that would be heading west or heading east. So if you're heading east and then north and south, it's like a T, and
where's
that
the T
entire,
at?
so
Rainier or something, or
I think it's pretty much Pacific Avenue, maybe Baltic, but it's Pacific Avenue or Baltic Avenue, and it goes straight down there. And those zones are considered, if you look up zoning, you'll see an RT designation, and that's a residential tourism district. And you can do Airbnb there by right. You don't have to go get a conditional use permit. All you have to do is go down and pay taxes on it. If you're doing home sharing, what's that?
You're further west than that location, right?
I am not in that zone.
So you had to get conditional.
Well, so most of mine are grandfathered in because we had them before. So all we had to do, all I have to do is go down and say we had them and show proof that I had them by those dates, and they're grandfathered in. So we're good to go on those.
Have you heard, because I've been doing most of my stuff in Ocean View in Norfolk. I haven't been doing quite as much in Virginia Beach with my clients. In Virginia Beach, do you feel like they're allowing conditional uses to come out into play, or are they kind of pushing those away right now?
Oh my gosh. So I don't know what city council is doing, and it's a little like I think they're trying to develop a standard protocol, but they've also created these. I'm going to give you a great example. This is you guys know Jason Swango.
Yep.
All right. So Jason, for those of you that are listening who don't know Jason is an attorney. He is the firm for men. So he pretty much, like, his firm is specific to divorce and custody for men. He bought a property in Shadow Lawn for probably high threes. I'm sure he put another 60 or 70 into it. And then, knowing the regulations, he had the driveway poured. So there were 4 spots, 4 9x18 to meet regulations. He goes to get his conditional use permit. They say, well, wait a minute. We didn't think you were going to concrete and pave your whole front yard. Now you're setting a precedence. And they declined him. They denied his application.
Oh,
Wow.
interesting.
So just because you meet the regulations, that does not mean you're going to get approved. Now he appealed it, and he has another hearing. Very curious to see how that's going to play out. Very curious.
I tell you what,
So
it was a learning curve to see how those things play out. It was just pretty interesting.
I will tell you that if you don't show up for your hearing, you're going to get declined. So, I mean, but I'm serious.
Yeah.
Like, you have a couple of people on the city council that are automatic no's. Barbara Henley is one, just saying. And keep that in mind next time it's time to vote. Sometimes it's just hard for older people to get into a motion where things change.
Yep.
It's just it. I mean, you have so many cities who have done so many different things, like limited the number of permits that they put out there. I mean, come up with some good plans that are working in other cities. And I'm not opposed to the regulations that they have. I think the parking is a little challenging, and I think that they did that specifically to limit who could get a conditional use permit, because parking is such a premium down here. And it is an issue. I mean, parking is a problem, but I have a 3-bedroom place. I rarely ever have 3 cars show up there. It's 1 or 2, and that Lakewood house, I'm so lucky, because when they constructed that, the whole east side of the building is parking anyway. So it meets all the parking regulations. I don't have any problems with it. So I do have a neighbor over there complaining now because he just moved in and he's been a little bit of a challenge.
So you got another question over here for you. Justina says, does flood insurance affect your decision on buying a property?
Always. Always. Yes, 100%. So, you guys have to look at the bottom line. It's cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. And you need to have multiple exit strategies. So if you're not going to live there or you're not going to rent it, can you flip it? What are you going to do? And I heard a quote not too long ago from Mike Vernon, who in our industry is kind of the go-to flood insurance guy. And he talks about how to mitigate flood insurance and blah, blah, blah. He said that they're going to FEMA basically to fight over the guidelines or over the maps, because for every $1,000 of flood insurance, it has a market impact of a negative $10,000 on the purchase price. Does that make sense? So if you have a $200,000 house with $1,000 flood insurance, it's not going to sell for more than $190,000, because it takes away buying power from your client.
Yep, that's interesting.
Yeah, right. So
that's cool to put a formula to that, actually.
Yeah, keep that in mind. The very first thing you should do anytime you're buying any property in Norfolk specifically is look up the flood zone. And I won't even flip AE flood zones unless I call ahead of time and find out what my flood insurance premium is going to be, because of that rule of thumb. I've kind of accidentally ran into that a couple of times, and I was like,
I ran into
Norfolk
it too. Not fun.
Yeah. You buy a property and you're trying to flip it, and you're like, oh, this is an AE flood zone. And I mean, that happened like 4 years ago. It hasn't happened since, because now you get more savvy to that. But 100%. And if you look at the projections, the flood projections, I mean, they're saying in 20 years, like the naval station's going to be underwater and a large part of Norfolk's going to be underwater. I don't know how true that is. It'll be interesting to see how that gets, how the city, that's a meteorologist projection, right? So they're looking at rising rising waters and saying that a lot of Norfolk's going to be underwater in the next 20 years. Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We got somebody in here said Carrie for local office. She's got the vote.
What? Yeah, I'm a little progressive. I don't know. And I don't like a lot of rules, so I probably wouldn't go over very well. Let's talk about the market in general. So we've talked about short-term rentals, right? So here's another principle I've taught my boys, and this is just so incredibly important for you to know, is that when you get into real estate investing, cash is king. When you run into, who would have seen COVID coming, right? Who sees that coming? You have to be able to react quickly, but you also need to have enough reserves. So low debt, high cash flow, you have options. You're not going to be in a place where, I wasn't scared. It was more like a chess game for me. It was a strategic, I could have paid for them. I didn't want to pay for them. There's no fun in paying for them. The whole idea is to get somebody else to pay for them. So playing that strategic game just excites me and it's fun for me. I'm not afraid of it. So get your house in order, people. Get your house in order, get your debts paid off, get your cash flow going. And that's where you really have freedom to make decisions in your life that are going to enhance it and bring, you more joy in it. Because it's just, Sean and I just had a colleague that passed away, 42 years old, kick-ass boss lady investor. She worked her ass off, found out she had throat cancer, was gone in a year. And it's that stuff, just like it's a paradigm shift. It reminds you of what's really important in your life. And, working your entire life is not what it's about. It's about experiences and creating those experiences in your life, whatever that is for you, whatever that is for you. I love to surf. So when Nick said, let's go surf today, I was like, I can rearrange my schedule.
Yep.
So that's what we did. All right. So let's talk about COVID's impact. All right. So we were flipping houses when COVID came out. I had 4 properties that were in production when all this was going down. My main concern was I can't get supplies. So we immediately went out and bought everything we could buy, because I knew my guys would keep working, because they were legitimately that's as socially distanced as you can get as being a contractor, right? They're just in the house doing their thing together. So we kind of got everything, all the supplies we could get. Luckily for us, construction was considered a essential business.
You have to stay in this house for the next 30 days. That's perfect.
You can pick any one of these 4 houses. I don't care which one. This one needs that. This one needs that.
There
so yeah. So we kept our contractors super busy during that time frame. My life as a real estate investor and agent did not change much during COVID, because we're still in the mix of it, but it has been all of our properties. We were able to get those finished. The biggest challenge was permitting process, and the appraisal process, because people were just crazy and the inspectors don't want to be around anybody. The appraiser doesn't want to be around anybody. They stopped working in the offices, and so you can't go down the city and pull anything. So it definitely slowed everything down pretty significantly. But because sellers have, because nobody really knows, everybody's in this state of limbo. They don't really know what's happening or how to plan. Is it going to be 1 month or 2 months or 6 months? I think everybody just they're like, I'm just going to stop right now and just wait. But then you have a whole nother sector of people. Like I had tons of buyer clients and no inventory.
Yep.
So we're still selling houses and trying to sell houses if you can find them. And then it's a, multiple offer bid process. So you've got to come in super strong right now.
With your flips, did you list any, what months did you list those flips you were talking about?
Oh yeah. All of them were listed and sold within 1 day, multiple offers. Only one of them that I.
What month though?
April. So I just closed Kennebec. So that one would have sold, 30 days ago. What are we in June? So April and May.
I'm just curious because I've been saying the same thing as you, and I feel like you talk to people outside of this area and they think you're crazy, but it's just, I'm like,
it has gone, like I told you. So I got Roseland. So I was telling you guys this before we came on board, but I want to tell everybody else this because I don't know if Will's listening. Tyler's listening. Tyler already knows this. So Tyler, when when I bought Roseland for I think 125, and then we did an addition on it, there was no comp over 235, and then we were super slow on that one because we had to get permits and blah blah blah. We had other projects going on. So I mean, I've had that thing right at like 7 months right now. Slow for us. But we did a pretty significant addition. It was an older house, 1940s, all hardwood floors, super cool house. But there was no comp over 235. So lo and behold, then right after, as we're finishing up, there's a property on the next street over that sold for 275. And I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can get 275 out of this. I mean, what? No harm in trying. I mean, I'm going to shoot for the moon. If I don't land there, I'll be somewhere in the stars. It'll be fun. It'll all work out.
Yeah.
So we put it at 275, and I'll be damned because the market conditions are so hot. I didn't have any problems getting. No one questioned me on the purchase price. I sold it before it went on the market because I had in my brokerage, same thing, like, right. So we're all communicating like who's got blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I've got one over in Oceana. Go check it out. And sold it. It sold right at the 1st of June. And so we were slow. I mean, I just had some problems on that one with subcontractors. The electrician was slow getting his final, blah, blah, blah. Finally got it all done. It closes tomorrow, but we close at 275. It appraised.
Damn.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's huge. That is huge. That is a home
You just
run.
jumped your margin up to, I mean, I don't know what it is, but it's probably way more than you were planning on bringing home. That's awesome.
Way more. It's 40,000 more than I was thinking of bringing home.
Ah.
So the flipping market has been super hot. No issues there. Anything we put on the market gets picked up immediately. As an agent, the biggest challenge I've run into as an agent is the lack of inventory and the fact that these are like 2002, 2003, when people were just like mad hungry and like giving up home inspections and no closing costs. And that's the market that we're in right now. So if you've got a client that, I have some new baby first home buyers and they need all their closing costs picked up and they're in that cherry spot, right? Like they're like, if we could just get it for 225, I'm like, oh my God, y'all are going to have to be patient because it's going to be hard.
It's
like we're going to be fighting with everybody to get that. So those relationships matter though, because I had another one, we were bidding out, but I was good friends with a listing agent and we knew we'd have a smooth transaction. And so we were able to craft a better offer. And then having that little extra, relationship helps out a lot too. So I've closed at the end of this month. I'll break like 10 million in sales for this year, which last year I only did 15 million total. So we're at the end of June and I've already hit 10 million in sales.
Awesome.
Man, that's
crazy.
awesome. That's awesome.
Very cool.
So landlording, last topic, and then you guys can ask any questions. Landlording has been interesting because they put a stay on all evictions and foreclosures. I'm very, very lucky that I only have 6 properties where I have annual tenants, and then the other 6 are all short-term rentals. None of my tenants missed a payment, but lots of landlords were having they can't now. That money is still due, but you cannot evict anybody. Even right now, I don't think you can evict yet either. I think it's coming up towards the end of June that they'll start the eviction process. So I get it. A lot of people who are tenants, they're lost their jobs. I know some people have gotten unemployment and then the stimulus check. Hopefully they've been applying that to their rent. But that has been a real challenge for a lot of landlords. So I read a story. And I don't know what the outcome is. So forgive me for not being able to finish this story. But this was one of those Facebook forums. It's a landlord forum. And this lady was talking. She had one apartment building. And all of the tenants came together and said, we're not paying. until this is over.
Man.
Yeah, she's like, what am I going to do?
Oh my
So,
God.
did I mention relationships matter? You take care of your people, they will take care of you. To me, it just tells me that she either had one horrible tenant or she was a bad landlord.
Yeah.
Or the property management was, because there was no relationship there. Like I have relationships with my people, and I will get out of all the self-management soon, probably in the next 3 years.
What is kind of the price range of your rental properties, your long-term?
Okay, Maverick doesn't equal any of those because that was a free house. So, but I prefer to buy like at right around 100,000 where I can rent them for $1,000, $1,200 a month. Like that's just such a sweet spot. And I like to find houses that need work so I can just rent them as they are. I'm not a slumlord, by the way, just for clarification. I want nice, neat, clean, livable houses, but they don't have to be updated because tenants are going to, like, I have a property in Cavalier Manor with the pink tile bathroom and the built-in wooden kitchen cabinets. Everything's original, hardwood floors. It's a cute house, super cute house. 8 new HVAC. We just put a new roof on there. So it's a very livable. It's not cosmetically pretty, but why am I making it nice for tenants that are going to end up tearing it up? They can, that stuff's lasted since the 40s.
Yeah, keep that stuff.
Probably handle.
It's withstood everybody
much better
else.
Made back then.
How many hurricanes is that written out?
Yeah, I'd like to start getting into multifamily. I'm a little slower on the game than a lot of people because I've spent, I've specifically chosen to raise my kids, and now that they're older, I'm ready to go full force. So I'm getting my taxes back, meet with my CPA tomorrow, and then I'm going to go in for a credit line, and it's game over right then. It's like,
I think you're about to see a massive fallout in multifamily because they all have been on that game and they all drank the Kool-Aid for the wrong number. Yep. And I think it's going to be freedom. It's going to be like a huge fallout, and it would be like,
what do you mean? People are buying for overpriced, or what's?
Yeah, 100% people are buying overpriced.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yes,
they're not paying attention to the correct number. Like, and Carrie, you can speak to this because I think we've talked about it a few times. You've got a lot of guys out there for the past 2-3 years that have been talking about multifamily and how to do this, do that. You got the Grant Cardone special over there where like 2 weeks into COVID, he goes bankrupt. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of stuff where people were drinking the Kool-Aid and you bought the wrong number, you bought the wrong price, and you got the wrong
over-leveraged.
So now when it comes down, the bank is like either you're getting those people just like in motivated seller leads, and I think that's what's coming next. You know what I mean? Like they way overbought, an HVAC goes out, a heater, water heater goes out, something massive. They don't have the cash flow to take care of it
out.
Yeah. And that's where you're like, cool, here we come. And like
I think we've all been looking at numbers that people are buying stuff at, and you're like, how do they buy at this?
Because they're stupid. What they're doing.
And then I guess there's a point where it's like, well,
know your numbers.
That's why they bought it that, and it didn't work. And
so know your numbers and play your game.
Yes,
you have to play your game. Do not get sucked into the emotion of I have to have this, or oh my God, I'm missing out, or I'll just build another little bit more. There will always be another deal. Yeah. And when you live in a space of abundance and know that there's always going to be another transaction, there'll be another deal. Don't worry about it. You have to play your game and let everybody else play themselves out because they're thinning the herd. It's Darwinism.
What do you guys think about, Carrie? What do you think about and we've talked about this before on here. We've got a lot of residential side. You've got tenants not having to pay, but you also have people not having to pay mortgages. Do you think there's going to be a foreclosure fallout here?
Or at least a sub 2. I see a great sub 2 opportunity market. And I, people have different thoughts about sub 2s.
They've worked right for
circumstances. Because, but let's be clear about this, but because I'm a person of an integrity, I know I will pay that bill before I pay my own bill because I gave my word that I would pay that bill.
Yep.
So I'm not going to let those go into foreclosure. I'll sell them before they go into foreclosure. I'll have somebody else take my position before I'll let it go into foreclosure.
Yep.
So that's, I think that's that's a core characteristic that some people are missing. And that's what concerns me about the sub 2 is that oftentimes people will commit to that and then they can't fulfill the commitment because they did the wrong numbers or whatever the case may be, or they don't have reserves to be able to pay for that property. And then when they fall on hard times, they have title on the property. The person can't even do anything because now they don't have title to it. They can't do anything. And now they're getting foreclosed on a property they don't own. They can't do anything. So one of the things that we do as a stopgap, because it's important to me that if I'm not making that payment, that I'm not hindering the owner or the person on the mortgage, we escrow a pocket deed that I have signed that if I'm missing payments for more than 60 days, they can contact the settlement attorney and get ownership transferred right back over.
That's cool. I'll have to give you a call about that. I like that because that's
so
kind of one of the faulty things about doing sub 2 is.
Yep. What happens if you stop making the payments?
I mean,
you get it back in 60 days with all the improvements and all the equity. You know, because if I can't hold up my end of the bargain,
two-sided instead of just one-sided, you know.
Yeah, right. Because it protects their interest just as much as it does mine. And if I can't fulfill my end of the bargain, I should be the one paying the penalty for that, not them.
That's cool.
So, yeah. And I mean, you know, I got hit by a bus.
Yeah.
And nobody knows where, I mean, they should have the ability to get that back. Now I have my office set up with all my little books and where everything goes and all the blah, 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 blah. So that if I know, because I was like, if that does happen, Mike would have no idea. He doesn't even know what we own.
Come on, Carrie.
No, he does. He goes cuts the grass there all the time. Just kidding.
Oh my God. All right, guys, we're right here at 9 o'clock, so want to kind of start to close it out. Anybody that's still here and watching, if you got any questions, bring them up here, and the girls will bring them forward, and we'll try to get them to Carrie. We're going to try to shut this thing down right at 9:15 if everybody's good with that. So like maybe 15 minutes of questions and answers. But if not, you know, we'll close out and finish up. I think there was a lot of good stuff. If you guys enjoyed this, please write some comments over here and let us know. Give us some hearts, give us some likes. This channel is something that we've been building for a little bit now, and it's trying to just build more recognition to people that are local to the market. That is one thing that we focus a lot on is local talent, people that are in the business doing it, not talking about it, you know, not talking about stuff from back in 2010, 15, 20 years ago. You know, this is active. Yeah. And Carrie is a really good example of somebody that kept those relationships and did good business. And I think one of the ones I really hit on that I enjoy you said was invest in good times. That was something that we actually found a piece of art that was out in Missouri, I think it was Mississippi, Missouri, or somewhere out there. Yeah. And it's a cool little art drawing. It says invest in good times. And it's really a solid statement, right? It's really solid. So a lot of good statements here. Ready, fire, aim. Work is fun. Life is fun. Life is not work.
Yeah. Here's a couple questions. Let me answer these real quick. So one is, what is my Airbnb vacancy rates like in the off season, and how much of a hit does the cash flow am I willing to take in the winter? Great question. And so all right. So in the summertime, I am pretty much at 99% vacancy. You always have those days in between. In the wintertime, I'm still hitting 70% occupancy.
Wow.
Still a huge demand. Keep in mind that Virginia Beach, we have so many activities. I'm also by the convention center. That was done purposefully, which is we're opening up a new athletic center. So you have dance competitions, wrestling matches, blah, 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 blah. Stuff that happens all year round around here. Keep in mind that we are a heavy military installation. People come here to meet and see their family. There's way more demand than what you think there is. So keep that in mind.
I've got something I kind of wanted, so I've got people all the time, they want to look into buying like a vacation home in like Sandbridge or something. And I run the numbers, and as an investment, I'm like, you know, you might, if you really want to be there, it probably makes sense if that's where you want to be. And that's kind of one of the things with vacation rentals. They're extremely seasonal. And then you kind of, I don't know, sometimes you do well, but when you start weighing all the costs in there. How do you think the Airbnb model kind of how does it go against like
the traditional vacation rental model?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the difference. Airbnb is what we call an industry disruptor, right? They came in and cut out the middleman and said, person to person, have you got a space? I just need a couch. I'm happy to take an air mattress. I'm coming to town. I need a cheap place to stay. So it because of the versatility of Airbnb, those vacation rentals are just that. Like people just go there and rent it for a week, blah, blah. But in the winter times, they pretty much sit empty. Airbnb is different. Like it's come stay in my house. I'm going to San Diego, or I'm going to a conference or whatever. And people just don't want to stay in hotels either. We have definitely taken at least 10% of the business away from the local hotels, by the way. So that's the quote that I've been given multiple times. People want a place. Hotels have missed the mark because, I mean, you have 4 kids? You have 5. How many do you have now?
4 kids.
Right. So 4 kids in a hotel room? Hell no.
And a baby that's and
you got all boys except for your baby girl. So, your boys need places to run around and a yard and a place to cook dinner. And, I think that the hotels, like, again, they just didn't move with the demand of the consumer, and people want a larger experience now. They want a place that feels like home, that they can cook meals in. And, Mike and I would go to California with 2 teenage boys who don't wake up until noon. I just want to drink a cup of coffee and watch the news or whatever. And there's no place to do that. So the Airbnbs give people an opportunity. Actually, there's short-term rentals because there's multiple different platforms. Airbnb is just a platform, but it gives people the opportunity to have the versatility to either stay in a room or stay in a pool house or, get a different kind of experience. So it's just, it expanded the ability for people to stay in lots of different locations, right? And the vacation rentals, they're usually huge houses, stay vacant in the wintertime, and they're specific to those high-end vacation renters during the summertime. So there's so much more demand for short-term rentals than people really understand. Like we can't keep capacity. I mean, we're always over capacity, and people are always asking me, do you have any place my people can stay for a month? I'm like, no, it's June. If they're going to pay $5,000, yes. We're not doing $900, no, for the month. Somebody asked, were you able to get good contractors that worked good and fast? How do you create those relationships? So Contractors is an ongoing, they have a lifespan.
Totally.
Believe it or not, my best contractor that I have, I met him, I solicited him off, I shouldn't say it like that. I found him on Craigslist. I didn't solicit anybody on Craigslist, just for clarification. He placed an ad on Craigslist. It wasn't man for man or anything like that, but it was, or missed connections. It was a trip. So, but anyway, Rich put an ad on there. I was looking for, this has been obviously several years ago because, who goes to Craigslist anymore? But so he's been working with us for like 7 years.
Awesome.
And so now, he's kind of that work husband kind of thing where it's like, we have that good dynamic. He knows what needs to be done. We fight on occasion over ridiculous prices that he gives me, but I give it to him anyway because I'm making money. I want him to make money too, no big deal. So anybody else? Oh, with the casinos coming in Portsmouth and Norfolk, do you see the changing regulations in those cities? Okay, so no one's recording this, right? Oh, yeah, you are. Let's be clear about the hotel lobby and their
they've already got you.
Let's not dive too deep. So
yeah, I'm not going to dive too deep into that. But all I'm saying is there are larger forces at play. So if you have big investors who are coming in and putting casinos with big hotels, spending lots of money, you tell me, is the city going to change the regulation if their buddy who just built that ginormous hotel doesn't want them?
Right.
So
very true.
Yeah, so that's kind of a big one. But I really hope to see. Norfolk, you can do Airbnbs in Norfolk. You just have to jump through all their hoops, and they've got quite a few hoops. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I think that people aren't necessarily going to stay in Portsmouth or stay in Norfolk. They're going to want to stay in other places. So it's huge demand.
I think what we've been seeing too is, especially in like Norfolk and areas, everyone's like, "Oh, they're staying in Norfolk." Like people come to the area. Yeah, they come to the area in general.
And they're looking at the descriptions, going, "Oh, it's only a 15-minute drive down to the beach."
Yeah.
So they're not necessarily looking to stay at the beach. They just want a place they can spread out, be comfortable at a reasonable cost.
I think if the casinos come, then it's just one more thing to draw people. I think you're right though. The laws might change, but you just gotta I think one of the key things that from hearing you tonight and other times as well is you move with the fluid of the market around you and the opportunity that's around you. I think that's awesome. I think we all admire that about you.
Thank you. It's a diversification, right? And just diversifying in one, so the vertical and horizontal, we've gone pretty horizontal in this field. So we have, we're trying to hit all the multiple streams of income in real estate that we can, so that when something like this does happen, we have enough diversification that we're not hit in any particular. I was worried about Matthew when this COVID thing hit. I was like, dude, how are you doing? He's like, we're good. We're 90% occupancy. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no.
Awesome.
What?
I started the Airbnb in right when all this started, but that's because I spoke with Matt and I was like,
yeah,
okay, we can do this. And if it doesn't work, like you said, you got those reserves. I can ride it out until the end of the summer, and then I'll heal long term.
And then you'll be fine. You'll be fine. It all works out. It all works out. So.
Well, Carrie, I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us tonight and spend, the past hour here with us and the group, everybody that came on. Hopefully everybody got some really good information. We got a few people in there talking about tons of golden nuggets. Thank you for the time. Presentation was awesome. So as usual, it's always awesome to have you on here. I know you came last year and talked with us to the Airbnb, and then now this year because of this massive situation and talking to what the good and the bad is. So it's been an awesome talk to hear all that. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come spend that time with us.
Always a pleasure. I just want everybody to realize that, get out and play the game, man. Come and play the game. Do not wait for the perfect moment. There isn't a perfect, every moment is the perfect moment. So come play the game with us. It's a lot of fun. I'm available. I am more than happy to take your calls or your questions. I'm easy to find on Facebook, Copenhaver. It's not like it's Smith or Jones. I'm pretty easy to find. You can message me at any time. You can Google my name. I'm very easy to find. maybe too much so. But if I can help anybody in any way, just reach out to me. Reach out to Sean. Reach out to Alex, Cameron. They all have my number, and I'm happy to kind of guide you through whatever you need help with.
Awesome. And to finish this out real quick, what's everybody drinking? Because we are a beer group. What are we doing?
Lucky Buddha lager.
Lucky Buddha. What do you got, Alex?
I did Shock Top tonight.
Nice.
Kind of feeling the orange beer.
Nice. Cam, what do you got?
I had American Haze earlier. This is water, but I had American Haze earlier. So
nice.
Out of Virginia Beach. So.
We were in West Virginia this past weekend, and we picked up this thing called Big Timber IPA. So it's out of West Virginia. It's pretty damn good. We found it in like the craziest location ever in a 7-Eleven. In like the
big can. That's a big can.
Yeah, 16-ounce can in the hood. Like it was awesome.
I like the double-bladed axe on there. Pretty tough.
So, ladies, come on here. What are y'all drinking? Ashley, Vanessa, what do you got?
I finished mine, but I had a Bold Rock cider. It was my blackberry, and I think that was it for the seasonal. So I don't know if I can get any more.
Right.
Bring it back again.
I went super frou. I've been self-isolating since I was in South Florida, so I only have what I had on hand. So some Angry Orchard.
Oh, okay. Good stuff. We had somebody said they're drinking some Templeton rye. Very nice.
Wow.
Very nice.
Rye. What is rye?
It's like a whiskey.
Oh.
All
to
right.
green.
So, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate everybody being here. Thank you for the time. Kim, I know you're being kind of quiet over there. We don't ever want to hear if you got something to say. But
No, I'm good. I was taking in all these nuggets, man, from Carrie.
Cool.
Really good stuff. Really appreciated just listening, Carrie. Always knowledge.
Thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. Alex, how about anything to finish this out and close us up?
Nah, man. Thank you, Carrie. Thanks for the positive perspective and just finding the light in the midst of all this craziness in our real estate market. So we appreciate that.
Awesome. As usual, guys, thank you so much for everybody that's watching the replay and hanging out with us. As always, check us out at Hopportunity on our Facebook page. We got the fancy ticker running across the bottom. And Ashley's been doing some little banners out there, and hopefully you guys are seeing it. But again, thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for joining us and watching the broadcast. And hopefully we'll see you next time. And we look forward to seeing you at a local meeting. And thank you, everybody, for that was here. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
See you guys.